So you are a law student and you have successfully made your way into uni. Congratulations. However, you start realizing that the life as a student has taken a turn. Your studying may not have been as effective as you wanted it to. So that's why I'm here to help you with 5 ways to enhance your studying as a law student or as any student at all. So the first thing is go over your notes. When you get back from your lectures, you feel like you want to eat something or go to bed, which is good, do that, but you should be careful as sometimes you might get yourself into staying in bed for the whole day. You end up watching TikToks, scrolling through social media. Listen, I'm guilty, okay, listen. So instead, you should try and get up once you're done with your mini break, once you've collected yourself, then go over your notes that the lecturer went over for the day. And then when you do that, you'll start noticing that the material will stick in your brain more, because sometimes lecturers like to speak and some words stay in your head, others they enter through one ear and then they leave through the other. So what you want to do is you go over your notes again, and sometimes you can also write them down in your own words so it helps better. How you want to go over your notes is completely up to you. I also have ways of how I go through my notes, so if you want to see that, just tell me. Second thing is make sure you are not burning yourself out. I cannot stress this enough. Do not burn yourself out, because you find yourself doing a bunch of works for a whole month, and then the next month you don't want to do anything. You don't want to look at your notes, you don't want to think about your notes, you don't want to hear about the notes, you don't want to do anything. You start skipping your lectures, you start skipping your seminars, you want to stay in bed, you don't want to do anything, your sleep schedule gets messed. Because why did that sound dramatic? But basically, give yourself a good amount of study breaks that work for you. This will help motivate you, as well as you won't be super tired all the time. I found that going to the student union shop, because we have a shop in campus, I found that going to the shop and buying myself a little treat from time to time while walking around the campus is a good enough break, because you give yourself some time to stretch your legs, you have some fresh air, you're not sitting in front of a screen all the time. An example for giving yourself a good structured study break is the Pomodoro technique. So various videos where they give you 25 minutes of study time and then 5 minutes of break time. If you find that doing it like that works, if you're a person that likes studying for a long period of time like myself, what you can do is you can give yourself a timer for 2 hours of study time and then 30 minutes of break time, so that you get longer hours of staying focused. It makes me feel like I've done a lot of work. So whatever times you want to study / give yourself breaks, do what works for you, but as long as you don't get burnt out. So the third thing is you need to read, okay? You cannot enter uni saying you want to be a law student. You cannot show up or you cannot show up being all I'm gonna be a barrister, I'm gonna be a solicitor, I'm gonna do all these things, but you don't like reading. What do you mean you don't like reading? Baby, you're in the wrong profession. You're in the wrong profession. If you're gonna do law, you're gonna find yourself reading a lot. So as a first year student, if you can, read the extra material, because I find that reading the extra material enhances your knowledge of the topic that you are learning about. Extra material, do not stress yourself over that, just read the essential material. But as you go from 2nd, 3rd years, they do emphasize read the extra material, because it helps you understand the topic much more. It shows what academics think about the topic, as well as it helps you balance arguments in your essay. Reading is an essential part of your life as a law student, but if you find yourself struggling to read because you can't focus on the material straight up, I do suggest Speechify. It reads out the chapters for you so you can multitask if you wish. You can also set out a schedule of when you should read. It can be at a cafe or while you are having lunch. So try to find time to read, because it's very essential, it's very important. And sometimes they might even ask you questions about what findings you found in the essential reading during your seminars as well. So reading is very important as a law student. Try to read as much as you can. The fourth thing is sometimes you have a lot of work. Sometimes it may even be that, you know, you have delayed your work, you've procrastinated, you're burnt out, or you just simply refuse to do the work, or you do have too much reading. Sometimes you do have a lot of work piling up, even though you do a bunch of work as well. You find yourself that the work is piling up to the point that you have a mountain of work because your university has dumped a bunch on you all in one go, or, you know, it has built up over the past few weeks. It is therefore good to break down larger tasks or assignments into smaller and manageable bits. This way your tasks don't seem as overwhelming and it is much easier to tackle your work. It is also recommended to note that when you break these tasks into smaller chunks, you now have to think about which tasks you should start with. One thing I do per se is I start with the harder tasks and then maneuver my way into the easier ones. That way you can also, you know, determine which tasks are the most important or urgent. This will help you with time management and it aids you in avoiding any last minute exam stress as well. So if you find that you have too much stuff, manage it into tiny chunks. Trust me, it works almost every single time. This brings me to my last point. You cannot achieve any of these without discipline. So that's my fifth point. Fifth point is discipline. You must have a passion for wanting to improve studying as well as reaching your goals and your preferred grades. Do remember that discipline is not something that you can gain overnight. You kind of need to train yourself, push yourself. Before you know it, you realize that this is actually pretty fun. Like, trick your brain into thinking studying is fun. That's what I do. Trick your brain into thinking that your studying is fun. Or if you can't do that, imagine what happens, the consequences of what happens if you don't focus, if you don't put, you know, your discipline in. First, establish clear goals and priorities so that you stay focused and remain dead set on the things that are most important to you. Secondly, develop a set of habits and a structure so that it contributes significantly to the discipline that you are trying to build up in order to achieve other ways of enhancing your studying as a student. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope that you did learn something. If these things are things that you have already heard from other people, then it must be good. Then it must be, you know, it must be what you need. And if you refuse to follow these things, listen, I did my part. My part is your part to do what you need to do. I'm aiming to upload every Saturday. I will upload every Saturday. It will happen because I'm building my discipline.